In this video, we're going to be looking at how to find the domain and range given a graph. So whenever you think of the domain, you should be thinking about the x variable. What can x be in this case? When you're thinking about the range, you should be thinking about the y values. What can y be? So looking for the domain, you're basically thinking about the values to the left and to the right given this graph. So in this first example, we're going to find the left boundary. So if we go all the way to the left in the graph, that is that point right there. And I like to draw a vertical line through that left boundary. And that left boundary is, if we look at the axis, at -2. Now we're going to follow that graph to the right, just following it as it goes to the right, and then we're going to stop at the point furthest to the right. I'm going to draw a vertical line there, and that point on the x-axis is at 2. So our domain, symbolized by a capital D, is from -2 to +2, and every number in between. We can write that as an inequality as x is between -2 and 2, and we're just going to put what looks like less than or equal to signs. But remember, when we were looking at inequalities, this is x is greater than or equal to -2 and less than or equal to +2. In interval notation, remember, this is using brackets from -2 to +2. Okay, now we're going to look at the range. And let's use a different color here. Let's use green. Okay, looking at the range. So now we're looking at y values. So y values is the axis going up or down. So we're looking for the point that's at the bottom of the graph and a point that's at the top of the graph. So we're no longer looking from left to right. So the bottom of the graph is going to be this point right here. And again, I'll draw this time horizontal lines through there. Now that is on the y-axis -1. And now we're going to find the point that is the highest on the graph. That is here on that crest of that wave. There's a horizontal line. And that is going through 2 on the y-axis. So that is going from -1 to +2. Notice I wrote the smaller number on the left, the greater number on the right. So as an inequality, again, I'm going to write my endpoints, -1 and 2. This time y is between those two values, and I can use my inequality symbols. So y is greater than or equal to -1 and less than or equal to 2. And in interval notation, that is from -1 to +2. Okay, so that's my domain and range for the first example. Now let's look at another example. So we have a slightly different graph. Well, we have a different graph, I should say. Okay, it doesn't have endpoints on either end. We have these arrows. These arrows indicate that this graph is going forever in this direction. Okay, it looks like it's going down to the left, and it's going forever up to the right. So now, looking for domain, remember we're thinking x values, and we are going to try to find the point farthest to the left. But if we do that, we follow the graph to the left, and we are just going down to the left. And remember, that arrow means forever down to the left. So that graph is going forever left. It's going down faster than it's going left, but it is going forever left. So forever left, we could write as -infinity. Now as we travel on that graph to the right, again, it's going forever up and to the right. So forever right is indicated by +infinity. So we could write that as -infinity to +infinity as an inequality. Notice I did make a mistake when I just wrote the inequality real quick. We can never get to -infinity or +infinity, so we should not have equal signs under those inequality symbols. And then we could write that as, or in interval notation, using parentheses. And now our range, so our range, we are concerned about the y variable, okay, or the y coordinate. And I've already said it more than once in this video already, this graph is going forever down, and it's going forever up. So just like our domain, it's going from negative infinity to positive infinity. So our inequality is going to look very similar, except with the y coordinate. And our interval notation is going to look the same. And that is how you find domain and range given a graph.